saw an email from my mom, and I was like, oh. And I didn't even read it that closely yet. But I called my dad immediately and was like, hey, have you spoken to mom? He's like, why are you calling me? Like, aren't you on vacation? Like, I was like, you should call mom. And he's like, that's weird. She's been calling me all morning. And I was like, did you not read the letter?
Oh my God.
And he was like, no, I started it, but then I didn't finish it. I was like, oh, you should probably finish the letter.
Go attend to your wife.
Home.
Yeah.
And he was like, what's on the... And then he just paused.
He knows what's on the
letter. And he was
like,
you're gay, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, fuck. And he hung up. And...
Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know. Say,
hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Therapy Rebranded, where we're consistently inconsistent. Ding. Oh my God, I've never done that in front of somebody before. And since we're inconsistent, we're getting our first in-person guest.
Hi.
Welcome, Mycall.
Hi. I'm happy to be here.
Everybody. Yes. This is Mycall. We don't have a name for our followers. No, we don't. Because followers sounds culty and creepy.
Brandies?
Ooh. I like Brandies. Writing down.
Reebies?
The Reebies.
The clients.
No.
They're the clients.
No, you don't want that.
You don't want that.
I like where you're going, but I don't know if that's it.
I feel like that's not. They're like constituent. No. Anyways.
Constituents.
So besides from the fact that Rachel says you're incredibly interesting and she likes you a lot and loves spending time with you.
I do.
The feeling is mutual.
Thank you.
We have you on for another reason as well.
Yeah. My name is Mycall Riley. I use any and all pronouns. Let's see. I do a lot of queer advocacy and support in a variety of ways. I think I would focus on two things that are particular. One that pays a lot of my bills and one that feeds my spirit. And I think it's a huge privilege to get to do both. Mm-hmm. So I'm originally from Minnesota, but I've been gone since I left 2012 and returned in 2022 for a job. I am the director of the Gender and Sexuality Center for Queer and Trans Life at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, which is cool. It's nice. This is one of the larger LGBT offices. Most, especially here in the States, are deeply underfunded. We still are too. But I have a lot of staff. We have 2 full-time staff members, several student staff, grad interns, things of that nature, which is the only job that would have brought me back here. Before that, though, I worked at DePaul, which is where Rachel and I connected initially.
No, you saw her in DePaul days?
Yeah.
You saw me being a hoe there.
I guess.
Do you remember who I was fucking there?
Who were you fucking there?
Starts with a B.
We'll bleep it.
I don't know. Wait, really? You were? I didn't know that.
Fine.
Well, I worked there, so I'm not going to say anything about any of those things.
I already know all.
Good. Okay. All right. But yeah, so I worked there first as a social justice education person. That office closed. I opened up the LGBTQIA plus resource center there. Before that, I did my grad work at Syracuse and worked at the LGBT resource center there.
I didn't know that.
So this is my third iteration of my first time as a director, which has been really cool. So that's a big part of me, but I also am a part of a collective that was founded in Chicago with 2 other folks, Felton Kaiser and Elijah McKinnon, and it's called The Black Agenda, BLAQ, and it's a social experiment highlighting Black queer experiences.
That's very cool.
Throw parties, we have book clubs, we did yoga, we've added another member, Carla Huffman, who does a lot of wellness stuff and queer Black woman experiences, so I think that's really cool. So yeah, I've had the privilege of being sustained in queer ways in different ways, and I don't know. I like to say I'm the other kind of gay for pay because it's a part of my job, which has been really fun and also really strange because.
Do you have a final form?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think
so.
For
what you want to do?
No, I think I want to do a variety of things. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have a final. I don't know. That's a good. Maybe no.
I just popped in. That was my ADHD.
I have a question. If I was a student at the U and I came to your office, what kind of resources could I get?
I like that.
I think it's a variety of things. If you wanted to talk through like coming out or letting people in, we could do that. If you were looking for, connections to like other Black and brown queer experiences, we have like a whole initiative that's there. If you were like trans and were thinking about transitioning, we have a gender care team that I can connect you with.
Wow.
We have binders. We have like a physical space that students can like hang out in. A lot of the meetings I try to move away from like just one-offs, because I don't think, especially students thinking through their gender identity, sexual orientation, etc., like need more than like one little
tidbit. Like,
here you go. But I also spend a lot of my time doing like policy work at the U and working with other like faculty and staff to make sure their spaces are as affirming, and not even just affirming, but like celebratory of queer identities. I think a lot of people like it's like, oh yeah, they exist and that's fine. And it's like, no. Like we have to acknowledge that we're dealing with like a systemic and structural thing here that's like built in so many places. It's like not just in the fact that we don't have enough all gender bathrooms. It's, it's the fact that there's so few, out trans faculty, it's the fact that, there's still so many things that are only for heterosexual couples. It's like so systemic and structural, and it's queer antagonism and homophobia are really insidious and smart. So we got to find all the ways it kind of manifests. So it would kind of depend on you and what you need, and we would try and hopefully work, collaboratively through that process. That's a little bit what you get.
I love that. It sounds like a space that also feels like a community.
That's really sweet. That's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah. So I will say, this is my third LGBT student space I've worked with. The needs are different, and we need to, and I don't think people have always caught on that. It should feel like a community space, right? And for some people, a community space is I want to come and kiki with my girls. Some people, it means I want to sit here and do my homework. For other people, it means give me things. I need food, right? I need a binder. I need, things I need I need shots, right? One of the first things I did, I'm very proud of, is when I got here, is right when Mpox was kind of going on. And I had several friends in the community who were like, I can't get a shot because I'm trans and only giving it to gay men, or because I'm a queer woman and they think that I'm not, because I'm having sex with gay men sometimes, or queer men, that they don't think I'm I don't need it. And so I was like, we cannot do that.
And just for folks who don't know what that is, can you tell folks what that is?
Mpox?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the Monkeypox, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We just moved away from calling it Monkeypox for
a plethora of great reasons. Some inherent ones you can just think right off of the head.
Think a little bit. It's also something, I will say this to everyone, if you don't have your vaccine, please do get it. Especially right now, I don't know if y'all have seen, but as we are dealing with the genocide in Congo, a lot of the deaths have been related to Mpox there, because we're not, and
interesting and horrible.
It's terrible. And as things will spread and move around, it's important for us to do that. But when I first got to the U, I met with some woman, Michelle Trumpy, who was new there too and did public health work, and we just keyed, and I was like, can we get a clinic going? And she was like, we've never done, let's do that. And so we had the first barrier-free Mpox clinic on campus, because I refuse to turn people away, even if you're not a U of M student. So I'm always if I have friends, if you have sex workers, if you have, in your community, anyone who needs that shot, I'm come on and get it. They're going to ask if you're a U of M student, but they're not going to turn you away. Yeah. And that was really important to me.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it. Higher ed is a weird place. I've always felt education is a space for me. Mostly because my foundation was a very unique foundation for education. I went to a private Pan-African elementary school called Harvest Prep that exists in Minnesota. It's a really small school.
I know where that is.
You do?
It's down here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Olsen Memorial.
Yes.
Yep. And I was a part of the third cohort of that space. And so I just had Black teachers and Black queer people around me at a super young age. I was oh, I can be here. This is a space for me. And although I know there's a lot of racism and queer antagonism and anti-fatness that's in those spaces, I also know that there are people who've existed with regardless.
They're still there.
They and will continue to be there. So yeah.
I'm so proud that you're my friend.
I'm proud that you're my friend. I
didn't know all those
I just
things.
have to say...
Do we just talk about current events? Do we not talk about, like...
We don't. We just talk about, like, whole
messy shit.
Yeah. I just have to tell everyone, I'm looking at the camera, because, like, this is my podcast, y'all. Like, I am so geeked to be here. Like, I am gagged. Like, I just can't. I'm, like,
Speechless.
so excited.
Thank you for being
when
here.
Rachel and I were texting about the Jerrod Carmichael stuff, I'm like, can I just come on the pod and talk? And then you were like, absolutely, like, so quick. I was like,
I was like, do you care if my friend Michael comes on? And she was like, no, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I am so excited.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to continue all those conversations.
We will.
Yeah.
Should we jump into Reddits?
Yeah, let's do it.
I can't wait.
I know.
This one's a family member acting up. I read this.
love this
I was
one
like,
today. This is a great choice.
hell no. Okay, it's giving Karen.
Oh, fuck.
Is possibly morbid obesity in a child considered abuse/neglect, and should a parent be reported for it? I'm gonna tell you no, but we can read it anyways. Hey everyone, apologies if this doesn't belong here. I just didn't know where else to ask. I'm extremely concerned for a child in my life, and I don't know how to go about facilitating any change. His mother doesn't think anything is wrong and won't alter his diet even slightly because she doesn't want to make him upset by saying no when he asks for snacks, junk, and fast food. He is 6 years old, on the shorter side for his age, and between 120 and 130 pounds. You'd never see him without an ice cream, a candy bar, an extra large soda, or something in his hands. Yesterday, we're getting out of the car, and he had a huge ice cream bar he was eating and sipping a fountain soda in between bites. My heart breaks for this little boy. Aside from neglecting his diet, she screams at him daily using the F word. For example, please leave me the F alone, I'm busy, or what are you effing stupid?
Hands down, this is a white woman telling on a black woman.
This is why you have no goddamn friends.
I can co-sign that.
Plus many more nasty, inappropriate things. She's a single mom in a new relationship with one of my friends, and as a mom and someone who gets easily emotional with stuff involving children, I was appalled at her treatment of her son. My friend is an amazing person with a huge heart, and I'm struggling to understand how she can be okay with witnessing this every day. She does what she can for this little boy and tries to treat him with extra love and kindness, but ultimately she's not his mother. Anyway, this is something that can/should be brought to the attention of protective services, ? Should I mind my own business? I can't imagine the damage this weight is doing to his little organs and young bones.
Oh my god.
Not to mention his self-esteem and mental health from the bullying at school. Thank you for any help in this matter.
I hate this bitch.
This was so messy.
I hate her.
The fat shaming was killing me when she was naming all the different foods.
Yeah.
It's just so like...
Okay, but real talk. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Is the mom neglectful at all?
A little bit.
I don't think, my personal opinion is you have a personal relationship with this person, kind of.
I know, I can't.
But you don't need to have protective services involved. This is a community issue if you feel like somebody's not parenting well.
CPS does not get called for this type of shit. Well, a white person actually would call. And actually on the test you would say that you should call.
Is letting your kid consume as much junk food as they want being a neglectful parent?
I think yes, with the caveat of I know how like food deserts work. I know how like unaccessible like some people like for us it's like it just is not accessible to some people. And so like feeding your kid whatever you got at the gas station, feeding your kid whatever like that's what you and I don't know this person's situation. It sounds like maybe they're resourced in some way. I don't know, but like I try not to judge, but I mean, it is not great. He probably is an unhealthy little... I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that either.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I know. Do it.
No, I was burping. So I was just saying, excuse me.
What do you think?
Yes.
What do I think? I think a lot of things. First, I definitely think this mom is overwhelmed. And like it doesn't seem to be... prepared, equipped, and I think there's ways that this community of people, this new partner and this busybody who's writing the letter, like can maybe come together and support this person in other ways. Food deserts are real, and at least how it's sounding to me. If you have ice cream and extra large pops and like things like that, like that's expensive. Like, you're starting to spend a lot of money if that's what if you're always. But I also think this person's probably being dramatic. They probably don't always have fucking. Can we swear on it? Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking Dairy Queen, like, dilly bar in their hand, because like you just don't. That's impossible.
Right.
I bet this person is probably a larger young person who probably is like a little bratty. The mom seems maybe a little overwhelmed and probably should provide a more diverse array of foods simply because it's good for the palate to try different things and whatever fiber and shit. But like, I don't know if I'd say they're like explicitly unhealthy. This person is very, very much like you're watching this real close, and like that to me, I'm like, maybe you should find some other things to do.
You're policing, bitch.
I also, kill the cop in your mind. It's ACAB over. It's ACAB in here too. Like,
literally,
like, relax, like, chill.
Once it goes from like it's about obesity, and then she mixes in the like, and she's saying "f you" and like mixing in a bunch of other stuff piling on.
It's like obesity should be criminalized in some way. Like,
that's
this kid is fat. Call the cops.
I don't know. I also think if you're that pressed, like maybe
like over Skinny Kid, do you think this person would be worried about it?
No.
What about the fact that he likely will, I'm just making up that's boy, likely will have some bullying because of his size?
Well,
is there any parent responsibility for that?
I mean, I also think like even if he was eating, I don't know, salads and like super like more diverse food. I don't want to say like good food, because food is food. I don't want to like put too much of like a this is good, this is bad. This person could just be fat. Like, people are just fat, and I think that's okay for us to acknowledge. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I think what the parent has to do is like hopefully create like at least a loving home and a like enough self-esteem for that person that even if they are fat, that they know that they're like loving and smart and beautiful, and that learns that like fat isn't a bad word. Mm-hmm. I will say that like if this person's having, and maybe this is my own shit, like pop is just like so wild, like having so much pop, that would be like, that's just like a lot for me, because I also know how much young people don't like to brush their teeth, and that's like so much sugar, and that might be painful, and like, it could be not like call the cops, but like I would want someone to make sure that their teeth are okay and such.
It really has less to do, I feel like, not less to do, I shouldn't say that, but like, we just know how kids are when they get hyped up on sugar. We know how like ADHD is affected, or just how any sort of like mental anything is affected, how like focus is impacted by diet. So like, he's probably struggling in I shouldn't say probably, but maybe he's struggling in other areas too, and like those are the things that actually like diet would impact like faster than his weight probably.
What would you guys do if someone in your life, like if you saw this, like let's say it's someone like a cousin's kid, would you say anything?
No.
What I would do is if I saw the mom, one of my cousins was like yelling at their kid a lot, and I could tell was like overwhelmed, I would see if I could help in some way. I'd be like, hey,
God, you're a nice guy.
Do you want me, like, let's all come over and I'll cook dinners on like the second and fourth Saturday of the month. Maybe not dinners, that's lunch, so we can still like, you can go on your way at some point. But like,
can you hang out so I can bring my kids in and swear at them in front of you? Because I'd like to get a fucking meal.
Yeah. I'm not good at cooking, but I would at least try. I think that's something.
Just a break.
Yeah, I think that would be for me. I would, instead of being like, I need to call the police, I would want to lean into this, like, let me be a part of this community. How can I help? So for me, this person has it all fucked up. Like, if you're actually invested, and you're not going to call the Child Protective Services, you should be like, how can I help?
How can I like help the situation?
How can I help here in this space? Instead of typing this in Reddit, don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser.
I feel like when people think about calling protective services or getting kids removed from the home or interventions of some sort, I'm not saying that this is specifically what she wants, but I think that they imagine this magical place for kids where they're going to be in a better space, because being with their parent is the worst thing possible. And I'm not saying that some kids don't get a raw deal, but part of the raw deal is that the best place for you is still at home, even though there's a lot of things lacking. And I would say that for 90% of the kids that I interact with,
research
where CPS gets called, is that like, unless there is like active sexual, physical, emotional abuse.
I don't care, really.
Not even that they don't care, but they're better off at home.
Oh, yes. They're better. Well, research shows that, too, that, like, kids who even, like, not the worst of the worst, but if they stay home, like, what is that called? The ACEs score or whatever, like, it goes up.
Like, I'm like, you're going to, like, go to a foster home or group home? Right. Are they going to come in and, like, do supervised visits? Is she going to be, like, threatened? Like, what are they going to say? Like, if you don't provide more nutritious meals, you can't keep your kid?
But it'll be so thin in that foster home.
Probably not. They'll probably be eating to cope with their attachment issues they're developing from being away from their primary caregiver.
No, that's a great point.
His cortisol will be really
so
high.
Many foster kids, I hate to say it, like I'm not a foster child, but I knew a lot, and from just like large church events, and I was like, these kids seem hungry too here. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like they're like in these new foster homes with like there's like a lot of love and care. A lot of those folks are there.
It's like junior prison.
Literally, they're like at least for the check. So it's like this like very like, I don't know, latchkey, like half latchkey, half like really intense person who's just taking a bunch of money from getting. Like, they're not like providing healthy meals either. This person's annoying.
Okay. Next one. Am I the asshole for breaking up with a single mom because her baby daddy got a bunch of other women pregnant? I'm going to hold my answer, actually.
I feel like this is not a page for my diary, is it?
I was literally going to say, it's Gabe. I've been dating this single mom for a bit less than a year. I knew she was a single mom from the get-go, and it was fine with me. I did ask if the baby daddy was going to be around, and she said that he's not. I asked because I know some baby dads can be crazy with their baby mom's new boyfriend, so I wanted to know what I was getting into. That was pretty much all we talked about him till recently. Her cousin had a birthday coming up, and she asked me to come with. When we went, one of her other cousins was pregnant. She complained that baby daddy name is a bum and ditched her. The name was the same as my girlfriend's baby dad's name. I asked her about it, and yes, apparently the cousins and my girlfriends have the same baby dad. I jokingly asked if he has any more baby moms, and my girlfriend said yes. Like,
oh, so she buried the lead.
Oh.
Go.
Okay, I kept asking questions, and apparently he knocked up 4 other women before my girlfriend, and yes, he ditched them all. My girlfriend knew about some of the other baby moms, 2 of them. Afterwards, I asked her why she dated such an asshole if she knew what he did. She said that he was charming and charismatic and that she was dumb. Honest. I took some time to myself and decided to break up with her. By the way, her son is only 2 years old and she's 30. Oh my God. I just basically thought that there's no way I could be with such poor judgment and that she was old enough to know better. Jesus Christ.
That's a lot. I
feel bad, but I generally don't trust her judgment anymore because if being charming and charismatic is all it takes for her to be with some serial impregnator or a nigga, then I don't think I can trust her judgment. Jesus Christ.
I think she dodged a bullet too.
I think so too.
100%.
Yes.
Feels like a white guy, right?
He is the asshole.
No, he's a black guy.
No, this guy writing it, he's a white guy.
Here's my honest opinion on it.
He's from Brooklyn.
If I was in his situation, I also would have been skeptical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's doing a real better than right now, and it kind of sounds like she got duped, and she owned that she got duped.
Yeah.
Like, she said she was dumb. Right. She only knew about 2 of the babies beforehand. She's not involved in the drama anymore because she's not talking to him.
Right.
Not that much has changed.
She literally said, like, what we all probably would have said is that he played her and that she was dumb, and he's probably fine as fuck is what it sounds like.
It's 27.
He definitely is fine as fuck. If he has that
and has a big-ass dick.
And you know he's sling, right? He puts in work.
And he puts in work.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm like, do you know how easy it is to get pregnant? Like, it doesn't take, like, he could have fucked these people, like...
He's reckless.
I mean, well, not even that he's reckless, but if I think about all the times I was having sex with people, and because I'm having sex with, I'm anally having sex, like, I'm not going to get someone pregnant, but if I could...
Lucky you.
I don't say there's gay privilege, but there's that. You know, and I'm just like, it's really easy for that to happen. Like, he just needs to, like, fool around and fuck around once and, like...
You know how easy it is.
Sex is really easy to have. He feels really judgmental and strange, and now the cousin thing might be a little strange, but I understand maybe why she didn't start there immediately.
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain that? I maybe would have said something if I was her before we went to the birthday party, just to be wholehearted. You know,
wholehearted.
Wholehearted. Oh, well, that's a new phrase. Wholehearted.
Wholehearted.
I love that.
Wholehearted.
I might have said something because that would have come up. Like, that's a very normal thing to come up, but, like, I don't know. He also doesn't look like he was that into her.
It's giving New York. These people are all from New York.
No, to me, this is so clear cultural tourism. Like, this is a white guy who started dating this black chick.
I don't think she's
hot.
black.
I don't know if she's black either.
I don't think she's
Well,
black.
whatever, Latina,
That
it doesn't
was
matter.
racial,
In
Gabe.
his
That was
mind,
racial,
this is
Gabe.
yep. No, this is what it is.
Okay,
This is
go.
what it is. And he really likes her, is cool, whatever. And then he's seeing that side, which like, and he is just like he doesn't get it. I mean, to me, it is so clear. I don't know why, but I mean, I'm a white guy. I'm going to just say I can tap into this. I know it's confusing because how much flavor I have, but
I'm done.
but that's what this is.
No, so here's the thing for me is that, like, part of me, the story I make up is that she's way out of his league looks-wise.
Yes.
And that
No black.
he
or
already
Latino
went
guy
into
would put cereal
that she
impregnated.
actually went into it. He actually went into it insecure.
Yes, exactly.
And this, like,
Yep.
confirmed something, which is that it was, like, too good to be true, and now, oh, she really is a dummy. That's what
he
I'm
had
getting
her on
from
some
this.
sort of pedestal or something. You're so right. She's a bad bitch for sure.
I keep on burping because I have.
Oh, you're good.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
This is
We do it all the
a
time.
little embarrassing.
I'm not even picking him up either, so
good.
like
Yeah,
no one's hearing it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, she totally is a bad bitch.
Yep.
He's definitely dating out of his league, and he definitely was insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the asshole.
He is the asshole.
But I also think like it's fine that she's not with you either. Like I'm not like
Yes.
it's like you should probably like be like sorry. Like if that's how you feel, like
But,
Bounce.
so
Bounce, please.
why is he the? So I mean, I get it. I'm not saying I'm just like blind to this, but I also go like I don't necessarily go like he's an asshole. He's like a chump to me, like that he thought.
He's
I don't
higher
know,
than
like
thou. He's what is that? Holier
Holier
than
than
thou?
thou?
Higher.
oh yeah, no, he's like I guess it's like he is an asshole, but I feel like everyone has a right to get out of that. Like for you to see that and go like, oh, I'm not really a fan of that
He's an
decision
asshole
making.
because he sounds like it's like past the point of judgment. What is that? It's like a different word for judgment.
Oh, like condescension kind
yeah,
of. Or,
he's
yeah.
like looking down on her, and I feel
No,
like,
that's true.
like whoever he's dating is like he's gonna have them on this pedestal, or they're gonna be
Right.
this great person. He's gonna find out something that's like morally incorrect, and it's just like
I also
you don't want to. That's just like a drag to date.
How messy could she possibly be that this hasn't impacted your relationship at all the whole year?
Yes, that's what. Like you didn't see anything,
Yeah.
right?
right,
She's handling her shit somehow,
right.
and the kids too.
She's fucking hot.
I also think that like if he's like again I'm not a heterosexual.
Yeah.
But
Huh?
I'm not. Believe it or not.
not one of the heads?
Believe it or nope. But like I'm feeling like at this point like you're probably gonna meet a lot of people with kids. So like
Yeah.
like
When you're
I
our
don't
age, you
know.
kind of got to get over
Yeah.
it just a little bit.
I understand maybe not wanting, but like then like don't date people with kids. Period. But also
Right.
like you're probably cutting like you all said she probably is real hot. Like she probably you might be right. Me might be this might be a white person who's not into like
Yeah.
communities of colors. Like let me see what this is like, and then like saw this thing that maybe he maybe thought like how would I explain this if the cousin
Yes.
and her
You've got
like,
this.
I'm at a wedding and now they're gonna have to explain. You know what I mean? Like so. He's an asshole. He's also a loser. He's
Yes.
also
Yes.
he's also a dweeb. Like
He's also a dweeb.
he's like just
You guys actually brought me back around, like totally to that point of view. Now I was mostly there, but now, yeah, just the fact that exactly you're gonna date people with kids. It's just he wants to have it in a specific way. He's gotta
Does he
be the
give
way-
you white guy because of the way he discarded her?
serial impregnator? Nobody but a white guy would say serial impregnator.
But sorry, does he give you her that she's a person of color because of the way he discarded her, or like was stepping
Yes.
into this world and
yeah.
as soon as it confirmed some negative stereotype to him, he backed out.
He was trying to visit the dark side.
Yeah.
Yep,
Ew.
didn't like it. Too scary.
I will say
Too scary.
I do think you might be onto something because of the way he did discard it, and I do think I see that a lot in like particularly like white black dynamics where people will like
Hell yes.
anti-blackness particularly works where with like this it's really easy to discard. It's also really easy to put up, and I think both happened really quickly.
Yeah. He exalted her and then
Yeah,
like, tore
then
her
quickly
down.
was like, wait a minute, this is weird. I don't know. I mean, I did is a little strange about the cousin like having the same baby dad, but again, that probably means he slings dick and he's probably hot as fuck.
No, he's probably fine as fuck.
I kind of want to see him.
It's
I wish
giving 6
I wish he gave pictures.
Send in pics next time.
That might be part of the problem is how hot he is too.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's probably
like,
black.
put it this way, as someone who dates black women, I have seen it in other people's reactions to, like, to my, like, because you tell stories about your girlfriend, your, whatever, to your friends, and they'll all be on board about how hot she is, for instance, and then if he hears, some messy story that can happen with any race, anyone, I felt judgment in the past that it's like seen as trashier or something like that, but I don't know.
Oh, I
don't
agree.
give a shit, but yeah.
Yep.
All right, on to more interesting things. Although that was pretty interesting.
That was interesting.
It was.
It was a horrible segment. That was a great segment.
And
Fuck off, Gabe.
what we really wanted to talk about, or one of the reasons we have Mycall on, is because we were all very intrigued by Jerrod Carmichael's reality show that he dropped last Friday.
Yep.
Like, intrigued.
The amount of, I feel like, themes he was able to touch on in 30 minutes was probably the most mind-blowing part of it all.
Pause. It's 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I thought it was an hour.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
All right.
30 minutes.
Wow.
And he didn't waste a single minute.
He really didn't.
He didn't waste a single minute.
Every bit was so good. The first episode is winning an Emmy.
So basically to sum up the episode, Jerrod Carmichael is a comedian who recently blew up and got an Emmy over his stand-up special Nathaniel, where he is open about his gay identity and the fact that his family isn't very accepting. And he does in this first episode, it's the sequence of him going to accept the Emmy. So it's like the 5 days beforehand with cuts to older times. And he is meeting up with Tyler, the creator, at the beginning to have a conversation about the fact that he had disclosed to him earlier, I think a year ago, that he had feelings for him. It shows him getting ready and having conflicting feelings about his family not participating in the Emmys. And then at the end, it ends with a message from his mom that was, I think, intended to be very supportive.
Yep.
That's the episode. But there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
What was your initial... after you finished it? First, I actually want to know what you were thinking during it, and were you by yourself? Were you with people?
I was by myself.
Okay.
Me and my dog were on the couch.
Okay.
We were. I wanted to watch it by myself first and foremost.
Just in case.
Yeah, I was like, let me just tap in.
What did you think?
I thought a lot of things. I thought it was definitely giving like high production HBO. Like I thought it was doing something really unique on like the way it was like kind of cuts and different pieces, and we're starting here and then we're going here and then we're going there and then we're going in the back. Like I thought that was cool.
Beautifully shot.
Yeah, beautifully shot. I think it helped me learn a lot about him as someone who like only know who he is because he's Black and gay. I wasn't tapped into his comedy specials. I've listened to the album Igor that I know he's on, but like I don't know who he was. You know, just like, who's this man talking? Cool. Like I didn't think about it. So I really, and I will say this, that I knew there's a lot going on because, as you all know, like the clip between Tyler and Jerrod talking is like viral boots. Like that's how me and Rachel, we ended up talking about it because you were talking about it with someone else, a straight man, and we then started talking about it. So I knew that. So I was happy we got there, and I was very intrigued, and I was like fascinated, and I literally, as I was watching and engaging, like not to be again a little fangirl, but I was like, oh my god, Rachel, like have you seen it yet? And you were like, yes, and I was like, I want to talk about this because this is like doing a lot of things. And
what is the moment though? Like what is the thing that people are talking about, you think? Like what is the thing that you've been seeing? What are the things that y'all have been seeing like in discourse online?
Well, I think one of the conversations around Blackness that has been interesting to me is whether or not he's wrong for putting his family's business on Front Street. And he kind of broke the code by showing all of this on this white ass network with these white ass people and like everybody seeing and being led into the business. It's not just him making statements or showing home movies. Like he's fully expressing like where he's at with his family right now, that they're not talking, and people are having big reactions to that.
Huge. And I understand, as someone who like is queer, has a complicated relationship with my family around my queerness, you know, has shared like feelings for other black men and had those feelings not, well, I don't identify as a man, but you know, other black people, and those feelings have not always been requited to, who has had a bunch of sex with like black and brown and white, or not black, white and brown people, like after being like trying something and then not going. So it definitely hit home for me in a really unique way. And I hope it can bring up some really insightful conversations around shame, around family, around like vulnerability.
Talk about the shame piece.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I'm not Jerrod, but I do think there's like a lot of. You kind of said it already, Gervais, is like breaking that code and talking really candidly and honestly, especially because Jerrod is in the public liking. Like, he's winning an Emmy, right? He's like hosting SNL. Like, he has a team. Like, he's like moneyed at this point, right? I'm gonna say he's like long money, but he's like moneyed enough that like, you know, he probably is paying for lots of people's things, and that's what you're supposed to do when you make it. You're not supposed to go and talk through but you don't really like that I'm queer. Like, you're not supposed to do that. And he did do that, and I don't believe the idea that we need to have like perfect Black examples of things. I do think it's interesting that this is happening on HBO, and there's a long history of like HBO and what they. In cultural studies, not to be like a nerd, but like in cultural studies, they talk about HBO as the multicultural middle ground. Or middle brow, excuse me. So that's not lowbrow art. It's not highbrow art. It's like kind of in the middle.
What's sandwiching it?
Yeah. And I think that there's like a spout where like, particularly like white folks who are interested in like connecting with other types of cultures, particularly Black and brown communities, will like kind of engage this way. So it's really interesting that this is kind of where we're at, but it also like, you know, this is not his first, second, or third HBO kind of special. I think he's connected to them, and I think that's like, you know, get your money. So I don't know. I mean,
what is your personal thing about it?
My personal thing about the show itself, or about the moment with Tyler, or about both?
Sorry, the show itself.
The show itself. Yeah, I mean, I'm mixed. I think like how brave, how messy. How interesting. I wonder what this will mean for your family after.
Yeah.
I would love to talk with him around it. But for me, I mean, would I do something like that? Maybe. I don't think, I thought about this actually. I would do it, but my parents wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wonder how it happened where his family agreed to be a part of that. Because I do think for most families in this situation, the family would be like, well, no. I won't be on it, right? Mm-hmm. Not even at all. Not like how that one person who's like dressed like we don't see their face, who's like always kind of around and being like, this is weird. It's like kind of like shrouded and like whatever. I don't think the family would do it at all. So
I heard something that he told his family that, you know, this was going to be a show and they were going to be on, but he didn't tell them like what.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but like somebody like in media was like talking about like, you know, he actually like, and they said he did the same thing with Tyler supposedly. Like Tyler knew there was a show, but he didn't know that they were going to be discussing like their relationship, and that's why he was so awkward. But I don't know if I buy it.
I don't know if I buy it because I don't feel like HBO would allow someone to come on and shoot without informed consent. I think they're too big of a company to open that up for lawsuits. And I think like when people are uncomfortable with something and it's kind of a gray issue, not a black and white issue, they try to make it black and white. Like actually, no, it was really foul.
Right.
And I think I would feel guilt and shame about putting my family out there like that, but that doesn't mean that that's
wrong.
Should change how you maneuver. I shouldn't feel shame.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's what happened. That is his mom's response to this. Like,
it's a real thing.
Many mothers, many people, Black mothers, white mothers, whatever, are queer antagonistic or homophobic. Hold those perspectives, and like, I or at least for me, like I prefer honesty than not.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like he was... This sounds like there's something wrong with it, and I don't mean it like this, so correct my language, but do you feel like he was flaunting his queerness or like rebelling in a way by how open he was being about his sexuality on camera in terms of like how that would make his family feel, or taking a stand kind of in like like I would imagine after feeling so unsupportive and like kind of giving into what they want, that like now that you're finally standing into it, he's going like so far.
10 toes down,
Yeah.
Like, this is me and y'all gonna get it or not.
Yeah. I feel a couple things. I think that, and I don't think he's like throwing it in his face. I think he's probably feels in his body. He feels like whole for like the first time.
Right.
Like my coming out letting in experiences are very different than Jerrod's. I don't think anyone ever thought to me as like straight. Like that's not, so I can't say I've had the same kind of, believe it or not. But I don't think that, so I can't speak to what that feels like. I would assume it might be probably very different to be like, this is a part of me and you didn't know it. And I don't know if that's the case for him either, because now that I'm thinking about some of his like other specials. I feel like there's like touched on some things around queerness beforehand.
Yeah.
But I think that's still different than like someone like I was always thought of as a queer child. And I think it's interesting too because I grew up with 3 other queer Black children who were like gay, all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And everybody knew.
Even if we were dating women, or even if we were like identifying as like heterosexual or whatever, like everyone was like these 4, those are gays. And there were other.
Was your dad like you're a gay?
No. Like
Okay.
it wasn't as like
Not even in like a negative way, but do you think like your parents were ever surprised?
No, I don't think they were surprised. I think that they were surprised on the fact that I was going to be open about it. Because I think there's a lot of expectations of like people, like I could have kind of been just like, don't ask, don't tell. Like I'm doing this thing, but I'm not going to, but like, especially I think now, like where my title at my 9-to-5 job as director of the Gender and Sexuality Center for Queer and Trans Life. Like you can't, like it is there. It's in there. Like you can't really dance around it. And I do think for a lot of communities, like there's a desire to like, okay, if you're going to do it, just don't like
talk about it.
Don't be as vocal about it. And I know that most of those young folk who grew up with are all like fairly out and open. I don't think all of them have like jobs like me, but like none of them are like thought of as straight. But there were other, I would say, maybe I don't know if these folks identify. I would identify other young men as like bisexual or maybe even questioning and or curious. And I think if they kind of came out and had to like share that identity, it'd be something different. For any of us, it was more just like, don't like, yeah, we know that, but please don't name it.
Do you mind sharing like what kind of environment you came up in, like even just the town? But if your parent, because it appears that his are really religious and all that stuff, right? Yeah. So I'm from Bloomington, Minnesota. Okay.
But the church that I attended is in South Minneapolis, and it's Kojic or Pentecostal. So like hand claps and shouting and like very Black, it's very flamboyant. But there's a lot of like really structural like patriarchal, queer antagonistic kind of ways of being.
Not a safe place to...
Definitely not a safe place. I definitely have been in church services, not at my church, but like at visiting churches where like the F word would be used like very openly about gay people, right? And I remember being like, it must have been like in 7th grade, and we went to like one of these churches for like something. We were actually in Wisconsin. And I remember hearing a pastor do that, and I remember being like, we can't, this is not okay. Like, I was like, I understand if people don't like gay things. This is a long time ago. I would never say that now, but I was like, but that is like hateful language, and we shouldn't use that. And I remember some people being like, yeah, and other people being like, and other people being like, shut up, gay. Like it was.
Who did you say that to?
Who did I like? We
is this
like,
to a?
Yeah, we were like with my youth group. We were like in like we rented a big like bus.
Wow, that's super ballsy, though. I mean, in that environment. I
mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think I was like yelling into the whole bus, but like we were like sitting in like a small like little back corner, and I was like, I think that's blah 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 blah. But I've always been really invested in like speaking truth to power and like stuff like that. So I think a lot of folks were just also like, yeah, whatever. Because I also was a little.
They're always doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in the suburbs. Like I was like at this point already like dabbling in like alternative ways of dressing and like listening to like like Postal Service and like Bright Eyes and these like alt-white bands, and a lot of my friends were like, this one's weird.
That's why it's ballsy to me, because it's like when you're the effeminate kid or whatever already, to do that is really, I don't know.
Well, that's really nice of you. Yeah, thank you. I don't know. I thought it was important to be honest, and I thought it was important to like speak truth to power, and I thought it was like the right thing to do because of, like there's a long history of like the Black church like being on the right side of history and speaking up for the marginalized. So I was like, this is to align. Like, yes, this is not about race or not about like women's rights, but like this is another structurally impact like a marginalized community.
You didn't have like language for it, but
I did not have language for it. No, but I tried, and I thought a lot. I've been thinking a lot about this question of like, would I do something like this? And I would. Probably, depending on the paycheck and also depending on like what I got to, how I went to go about it. But I do not think like my family would do it. Maybe my dad. Maybe.
Why?
I think his parents are leveraged in by the money, though.
Maybe.
I don't know if there would be a price tag that my parents would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not true.
This is kind of a detour, but when you work with students, or like you're providing advocacy, is it often that you're helping people navigate having a difficult relationship with their parents because of their identity, or is that not really something that people bring because of the space you're in terms of university?
No, I think it still comes up. It doesn't come up as often, but it comes up. I do think what I see a lot more of is less around the people's sexual identity, but more about like their gender identity and gender expression of being trans or being non-binary.
Yeah.
Like students who are like, trans here and they wear, or dress a certain ways, like wear wigs or they're binding, and then them coming to not going home or their home of origin, that's like really jarring. And one of the things we try to do at the GSC has been because I think you all remember how long of a break you have like during the winter holidays.
It's like 4 weeks. It's a really
super long time. And the U's is even longer. It's like 5 weeks, right? In some other spaces, like it's super long. Like at Hamlin, if you didn't take a J term, you were gone from like November to like January, right? Yeah. And so like it can be really hard for people to like go back home, especially at that first year when you've really learned how to like let people in and you're like have the space to like express, you know what I mean? And
I do.
They don't. It's hard to do. So what we've been doing is we create like a program and initiative that's like right before the academic year ends and that break starts. We let people like let's practice some skills. Let's hone some skills so that you are able to truly deeply like know how to maneuver those spaces, right? And how do you take care of yourself while you know that like a lot of your other friends in those communities aren't going to be there, right?
Right.
And like talking with students, like, do you want to go home? Because like if you can go with a friend, if that's the thing you really want to do, if going back to your home of origin feels that anxiety inducing for you, like
you have to.
You have the autonomy and the onus to do that. Now, I also let people know, and you touched on this earlier when you talked about people think you call CPS, they're going to like end up in these perfect places. I also want to be clear that like my office or the GSC, any of these spaces, like you can have all this, but I want to be transparent that like we're not equipped monetarily if your parents are going to cut you off to like provide for you. Like I'm not going to be able to cover your books. We can direct you to different things, but like it's not going to be as simple as that. And I know that it's hard, right? And it's heartbreaking. And I wish, and if someone's watching, wants to like give my office at the U like a bunch of money to make that happen, please. But like I don't have that right now. Yeah. Like and we don't have the structure for that. And that's not just at the U. This is any of those spaces. Our schools are not equipped to like deal with that. And when I officially like was like, nah, family, like this is my boyfriend, like this is who I am. Like I didn't do that.
How old were you?
And
first time where you were like, I have a boyfriend, acknowledge it.
I was a senior in undergrad.
Okay.
October 27th.
Okay.
October 26th, 2011.
That was a big day for you.
It was a big day, yeah.
What was that like?
Terrifying. But I knew I had to do it because I also wanted to because I was like, I've been dating my ex of that. I would just say that I was dating Peter for years at that point, and they've we've done all the weird things, and like, who's this person? You go see them a lot, and I'm just like, like. I didn't want to have that conversation at that point because I was afraid of like getting cut off. I was at a very expensive, school. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be, covered. And I remember talking with other staff members, right? I was really close to this woman named Jane. We're still super close. And I was like going through these things. I was like, Jane, I can't tell my parents until I know that like I'm going to be set. She was like, it's not going to be that bad. I was like, no, I promise you it will be. Like, I promise you if I do this, it's going to rupture a lot in my life. And it did. Me letting my family into who I was that way, like, changed our relationship forever. And it will never be the same. Yeah. I'm not saying it's, like, all good or all bad, but it definitely changed it. And I think...
What do you think the most monumental change was in that moment? I think that people's relationship evolves over time. But if you bring yourself back to senior, so 23?
Yeah, 23, I think. Yep. 23, 22, 23, yeah. Yep. What was the most, can you ask the question one more time?
Like the most monumental change or shift, like the biggest immediate shift in your relationship. Did you guys take a break from talking?
100%.
Okay.
We had to. You know what I mean? Like it was
no contact?
No contact. Like it was I wrote a letter because I'm dramatic. Wrote a letter.
Which is why I thought you were Scorpio.
No. Wrote a letter.
Stop coming at us.
We are.
Gave it to my dad first, I was like, I'm going to tell you, Dad, because I know that if I tell my mom, it's going to be something different. Like, she's going to have a pretty visceral reaction. Even though my mom and I are really similar, I knew that it would, and I've always known this. I remember being like literally like 11, like, well, can't tell her because I know she's going to respond.
What kind of comments were cueing you to the fact that you couldn't be open?
To her?
Yes.
I just the way like she talked about, because like I wasn't like there was another person in our church who came out before, like when we were in high school. And I remember just all the way that all the people were talking about it, and just the ways that, like the ways that it just, I've always known. Yeah, I just always knew. And it was weird too, because like my mom has had many queer friends. I remember she was really good friends with this man named Miguel who worked at old Chicago pizza place in Uptown we used to go. I mean, I grew up my mom's like a Mac woman, so like I've spent a lot of time at Mac counters. So like I knew many gay people, but I always knew that she would have a different response. So I was like, I'm gonna tell my dad, give my dad a note as he was dropping me off to go visit my Peter, who was living in Costa Rica at the time, because they were a year older than me. So they were living in Costa Rica, like teaching English or something. I don't know, whatever. And so I wrote my dad a letter. I spent all night writing the letter, gave it to my dad, and was like, hey, he dropped me off at the airport. I was like, read this letter before I
what a mic drop.
You dropped a bomb and left the country.
Literally, I was like, read this letter. I'm gonna be in an airplane. Like,
not you literally being what's his name, texting in the garage.
Yeah, no, airplane mode.
Yeah, that literally like see you later.
I'm unavailable for a few weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Chew on this.
And I flew, and then I got back. Or when I got back, I got to Costa Rica. We were going to like a part of Costa Rica to like have a little like vacation kind of moment. And I checked my email and I saw an email from my mom, and I was like, oh. And I didn't even read it that closely yet. But I like called my dad immediately and was like, hey, have you spoken to Mom? He's like, why are you calling me? Like, aren't you on vacation? Like, I was like, you should call Mom. And he's like, that's weird. She's been calling me all morning. And I was like, did you not read the letter?
Oh my God.
And he was like, no, I started it, but then I didn't finish it. I was like, oh, you should probably finish the letter.
Go attend to your wife.
Home.
Yeah.
And he was like, what's on the... And then he just like paused.
He knows what's on
the letter. And he was
like,
you're gay, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, fuck. And he hung up. And
oh my gosh.
Were you crying when you admitted it?
I
I would think so.
I was not like...
Did Peter do a good job?
Peter did a phenomenal job.
Okay.
Peter was really good at this time. Like,
okay. He could have sucked after, before, whatever. Did he show up when he needed to?
We were
okay.
We were still pretty decent.
Okay.
At this point, then to make a long story less long, like
I'm heartbroken.
It's a great story. Yeah.
My mom. The email was like really like, you know, I can't believe this. Like, this is so sad. Like, you know, a lot of these. I feel like I feel like I'm losing a son. Da 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 da. Blah 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 blah. So they're dealing with these things. I'm in Costa Rica. The trip is obviously like sullied by this. I come back, and my mom, I'm on campus. I come back, go straight to like I worked in like, had like a job. So I was like at the job. I was a RA.
Okay.
So,
of course you were.
My mom texts me though.
Of course you were.
Yes.
Being like, all of your things are in front of your resident hall. Goodbye forever.
Holy fucking shit.
And then I'm literally like, I have to leave my job, run out, like, and it's true. Like, all these pictures, these things are all in these like 4 or 5 bins. And I, you know, sobbing, called Jane, and Jane and then one of the grad interns came in, and we like moved all the boxes into my like open single dorm room that I was living in. And
oh yeah, thank God you were an RA. Yeah. You had a single.
So I had a single.
Just stacked.
No,
in the single.
It literally was like just in the middle of because it was a really small. It was like probably the size of this room, maybe even a little smaller, and it just like almost just hit the ceiling. These like 5 boxes and just like all these things, and we didn't talk for a long time, from like September to like January, February.
Out of curiosity, were you speaking to your dad during this time?
Here and there, but it didn't go super well. And then there was like a long back and forth of like tumult, as you know, that whole year. And yeah, I graduated in May, and then in June I like left.
Did
Went
they
grad
come to
school.
graduation?
They did. It was awkward though. There's one picture of all of us. But they did go. Going back to the show though, not because I don't want to talk about this, because I do.
Yeah.
But like that part I would not share.
Yeah.
Mostly because not because I don't want people to know. Like I've told this story many times, you know. It's been recorded many times. It's just hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd want to I don't know if I'd want a visual of that moment.
Right.
Too hard for them, sort of.
Too hard
think?
for me.
For both.
Too hard for me.
Like if you could record you telling them, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You're
I don't
okay
wanna-
with that being out of
It's
your...
just for you.
Yeah, it's for me. It's for me. Just because it was just like so much.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's
and also
profoundly,
knowing,
yeah.
like knowing what was like, and knowing how this was like, not like verbatim, but like knowing pretty clearly what was tea. Yeah, no, I'm good. I wouldn't do that part. So Jerrod, you got me beat there. But like my life now, like coming back to Minneapolis, you know, and things like that. Like, yeah, I'd probably do that.
Do you think
again? I don't know if they do it, but I would ask.
Do you think you guys have gotten to a place where you feel loved and accepted? Not necessarily, because it sounds like they don't accept all of you,
So I don't know how.
but you've been able to negotiate
Yeah, I think
staying connected. So I don't know. Maybe they're
it's a super good
familiar.
question.
I don't
It's a
know.
super good question.
And you and your mom talk. Well, she talks to you.
We do talk, but I think it took us a long time to get here.
Yes.
And I still think it's like, it is contentious, you know, like it's a perfect example, right? Easter, we're getting ready for Easter Sunday. And I was like, girl, I don't know what I'm going to even wear. And she was like, oh, I really liked the suit you wore to my grandma's funeral. My grandma passed in December. So like I wore like, and I just like, what usually I'm like really into style and individuality and whatever. But like, I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna just wear a black suit and that's that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear. My mom was like, oh my God, like wear your black suit again. Like
Still very cunty.
thank you. It was cute, but it wasn't, I don't know. She was like, wear the black suit again. It was really nice. And I was like, I don't even know where that suit is. She's like, what do you mean you don't know where that suit is? And I was like, oh, that's at Luckett's. I'm sure it's at Luckett's. And she was like, why is it at Luckett's? And I was like, because I leave things there because I'm dating him.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I was just like, the girl, like, why would I, like, I have, because of the last couple times I haven't driven to Chicago. I've been flying, or the time I did drive, I like forgot because there's just like so much shit in the car.
Your shit's there because it's
because that's my boyfriend's house, you know, like, and maybe I'm gonna leave a pair of black pants there in case I need a pair of black pants. So,
And I'm not wearing something bland to Easter, so let it go, Mom.
and did it. But like, it was just, you know, like, so we have those kind of moments.
It's just always under the surface, right?
I don't even know if it's
like,
under the. It's like right there. It's
Yeah.
like it's like not the main. It's not the main burner, but it's the burner right next
on
to
the back
it.
burner.
Not the back. Whatever the one that's on the side.
Did they? Was there any feeling of like they felt like you did something to them by coming out?
Yeah, there definitely was.
Yeah.
I mean, and I did do something. Like, I don't want to act as if I didn't. Like, I did.
What did you do to them?
I shook up the optic they were supposed to have. Like, I decided to be wholehearted and honest, which they didn't want.
Big mistake.
Yeah, and many people didn't want to do that. Like, that's not what many people want for like their children. I think particularly me being like, you know, first gen college student. Like, yeah, I was raised like in the suburbs, and my parents worked really hard, and you know, I had like a really phenomenal upbringing. Like, I wanted for nothing. I grew up in a cul-de-sac. I drove a Volvo. Like, growing up, like, there was a lot of things that I had that were really great, and my queerness does not fit in that position. That's not that's not the kind of setup that I think my family wants, and a lot of people wanted for my family. So,
What's that? What did the best friend she say about Jerrod's mom? She said this isn't what she wanted for you, or something.
Said she's grieving.
Yeah,
grieving the loss. Yeah, and I'm sure
the future she thought you'd have.
And I'm sure my mom's grieving, and I think a lot of people are probably grieving a lot of things.
This is a weird question. Does that feel fair? To have
none of it feels fair.
Yeah,
I had to move away from fair a long time ago. The whole like, it's not fair for Jerrod.
You're right.
That's not fair that they can't like be their whole self with their family. That's not fair, right? There's a bunch of things that like fairness, unfortunately, like fell out for me a long time ago. None of it's fair. I just because I guess for me, not to get too like esoteric around it, it's not about it being fair. Like, fairness isn't possible because I'm talking about these like systemic structural things. Like, queer antagonism isn't fair. It just isn't. Homophobia is not fair. It isn't. You know, those things aren't fair. There's not like, I learned a thing, like, I did, but like, none of it's fair. None of it's gonna like balance itself out, you know? But I also think for me that like all the things I've experienced around my queerness and around like all those things, like, and all the hardships and the beauty, right? I think I want to also name that like, while I had this experience with my like family of origin, like the 3 other young Black gay folks I grew up with, like, how beautiful is that I've had that experience, right? That I've, from my inception around queerness was with other Black people who were like so affirming, and like, it was messy and like complicated and like horrible, but like we had each other so intimately. And
You always had that.
And we still do, even though we're not super close. Like I had dinner with one of them yesterday for the first time in a long time. And we just like sat for 2 hours, just like, laughing so deeply, like, remember this, and do you remember this, and do you remember this, and like, where are you at now? It was just such a blessing to like connect with Cameron, and
it's hard because you said something earlier about like, or maybe you said, I don't remember. Somebody said
it's saying shit, so
we just be saying shit.
Yeah,
it's not black and white, right? So the thing that you just described is this like really nuanced, very like multifaceted story that nobody could paint you in one way, nobody could paint your parents in one way. And it's hard because I don't even think he's trying to do that on the show, but it's either his parents are villainized or they're not villainized in the how people are talking about it.
Right.
It's not like the belief probably, but people are either saying his parents are really homophobic, he should get to do whatever he wants, and they should be punished forever and ever and ever, or he's being disloyal, and that's like the Black narrative, like the whole that narrative. And I feel like there's not a lot of in between.
I feel like another part of the episode that's nuanced is the part with Tyler. And I kind of wanted to segue into it by hearing, I heard you kind of say something along the lines of like, I understand the experience of having like unrequited feelings with somebody.
Absolutely.
So how was it watching that? Like watching overall, kind of him reaching out, us sensing, I think as the audience, he was going to get rejected immediately. Watching the rejection play out.
Not even the rejection. Like it was like Tyler like moved around. He didn't even like, he didn't even acknowledge it. Like he just like moved around, in my opinion. Like in
the conversation or in the initial thing?
Both.
Really?
But I think particularly in the conversation, because like, I mean the text message, because like he literally just like he was like, ha, stupid bitch. Yeah, and just like moved on. And I feel like at least, and here's the thing.
Which is so Tyler the Creator.
I wish I could see, I wonder what's on the cutting room floor. Like I wonder at one point, like how clear was this conversation of what we're seeing actually what it is. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know
really that short.
Yeah, because it's such a short episode. So that's one of the things I would love, like if Jerrod could sit over there, I would love to be like, okay, so what actually happened there? Which I know he's not going to tell us because like that's why we're here. That's it right here. But like, I wonder so deeply and intimately like what actually that happened. But I have had that many times of like, you know, wanting to make a particular have a certain kind of like romantic connection or even a sexual connection with like other Black folk, and having that like not be requited and having that like just not happen. Specifically
with Black people.
Yeah, especially with other Black folk. I've had it happen, and it is really hard, and it feels really awkward. And I see it a lot. Me and a friend of mine, the name is Mr. Wallace. They're a really, really prolific. They actually like were one of Beyonce's little DJs for the Renaissance tours. They're very prolific, super, super thoughtful. They're like my sister Elijah's like gay mother kind of thing. So Mr. Wallace and I talked about how so often we start building those kind of connections with other Black men or other Black people, and you're you know, trying to figure out what this is.
You're vibing.
And you're trying to figure out, okay, are we, aren't we? And you'll get hit with this like, hey sis, like they'll sis you, SIS-U, and that's like, we are not going to like,
it's like a friend zone.
I do not see you as like a romantic or sexual thing, but you were like another, you know, another girl I'm kiki down with, and that's that. And I like, it's so wild to watch. And earlier today,
do it.
Do y'all know that like those like hood ass like balloon popping dating videos? Have y'all seen those? Okay, so go with me, everyone.
You have to show us afterwards.
I'll show you after. So these videos, right, of like, it'll be like a line of people, and a person comes in, and they like, it'll be like, okay, if you like what you see, the person, they won't pop their balloon. And if they do like you, they won't pop it. And if they don't like what they see, they'll pop it.
Okay.
And it's
anxiety-inducing.
It's very anxiety-inducing. It's very interesting. And this afternoon, as I was getting dressed, I saw one for like gay men or gay people. I won't say they're all men, but gay
folks.
Well, gay folks who are Black who are, you know, some were cis, maybe some weren't. I'm not exactly sure, but and it was so interesting to watch how quickly they'd be like, no, that'd be like a girl, that's like someone I'd key down with. That's someone who I would be friends with. I don't like, and how quickly that would happen. And it's really, I'm not going to say, and I never will say, and I have had people say this to me before, that like, once Black people are less homophobic, like, then the world would be better. And it's like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Also, like, do you know all these laws? Like, these Black folks are not writing those laws because we are not given the space to be like in legal, like have legal power, you know.
Black people don't have like the monopoly on homophobia.
No. We definitely do not. But like, it was really, there they are. Yeah, this is it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, And there's a gay one that just came out, and it was wild to watch because how quickly they all, like, so many, they were like, oh, that's my sis.
Yeah.
And it was so wild because I do think that was really similar to what was happening with Tyler and Jerrod, even though, like, they didn't use that language.
So
I also think there's more to the story that we haven't seen
yes,
yet.
I think so
and
too.
I think we'll see, hopefully, by the end of the season.
My thing is, I couldn't tell watching their interaction in the hotel if Tyler was like, it seemed like there was like a thing between them. I think I said this to you. Like, it seemed like there was like energy between them that was like, maybe there was a moment, because and maybe this speaks to like the childish thing, that kind of that your childlikeness that you were talking about. Like,
I think I talked about that off camera, but just before we started filming, I basically had shared that there was just like, I guess was more curious about like, is this like identity formation and rebelling in some way, the way that he's presenting and showing off kind of like how he thinks about the world and like what he's doing and like how much he's leaning into these aspects of his life that other people don't like. And what I had said was the way that he's going about dating or sharing this crush reminds me of like myself in high school, of like, oh, send the text, hide the phone, or like, you know, building up the story in your head a lot more than like what you're actually getting back, and like needing to be like almost glutton for punishment, like needing to be brutally let down. Like, no, you need to stomp out hope for me right now on this camera.
So that was the thing, is like, I couldn't quite tell, like, if he wasn't getting what Tyler was saying, or if he didn't want to, or if it was like, if he was confused because maybe they had some sort of like, I don't even want to say, maybe they'd had a moment or there was something, and he was like maybe it isn't totally, he's not just talking to this like cis straight guy, because Tyler's come out as bi.
Sort of. Yeah, that's also the thing.
And so I'm like, maybe they actually had like a moment, and then like Tyler was like, nah, he's like, it's not like that. And he's like, you're my family, you're my brother. Like, and I also get where he was coming at in that moment. Like, maybe it really was awkward. Like, it
definitely was awkward.
It was definitely awkward. And so like, I can feel the both of them, like maybe neither of them thought that shit was going to be that awkward.
I think Tyler knew it was going to be awkward. And also when he got up and farted in the closet, I was like, this is your king.
No, literally.
This is your king.
This is your king.
I'm actually yelling. You can't see it, but I'm yelling. That's
the one.
For some reason, that really bothered me.
It felt disrespectful.
It felt so... I'm like, Tyler.
Really?
Like, come on.
He's on the edge of tears. He can't even eat. When he was like, you're not going to eat that. Like, you're going to make him shove this food down right now? That was hard to watch.
It was super hard to watch. I also think so. Okay, so many things to get into.
Okay, go.
One, both Jerrod and Tyler both are known in like the queer world to mostly fuck white men.
That's what I was gonna say. I've been waiting to say it the whole time. I'm dead serious. Tyler,
I believe you.
And so I thought it was interesting that like that was the conversation they're having at all, because like how both people think of them in the mainstreamness of it all is the fact that they both historically are only interested in dating white men.
That's what Jerrod says. He says his type is like 90s Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's why you're right, Rachel, that they fucked before this.
You think they fucked?
You read that perfectly.
I think so.
I think that's what it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the courage to be that expectant.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
I don't know if
Because he's miffed.
I don't know.
Jerrod came off as miffed to me, like
He didn't come off as miffed. He came off as denial or discomfort. Like, I felt like he choked during the conversation. Like, I felt like whatever Jerrod envisioned, it didn't go that way, and he didn't know what to do with kind of like, it almost came across as apathy on Tyler's part.
Yeah.
Like, he almost came across as like playful and apathetic. Like, could you imagine, like, let's say that we know all the information, set the scene. I told you how I felt about you.
Right.
And we haven't been the same for the last year. Now I'm finally trying to have this conversation with you, and like, you're clowning.
Literally acting like
I'm humiliated right now, and you're clowning.
Like, giggle down, farting in a like
insane.
balcony.
This is your king is really
immature people do. Like, I think Rachel, you nailed it.
That's the name of the episode. This is your king.
No, but that's really how I felt when I was watching it. And I remember when I wasn't emotionally available, and I didn't know this, but I would form these really intense crushes on people who weren't real options.
Yeah.
And like,
they're unavailable.
Also, him being into Tyler, but then fucking like white men and what he called Latino Twinks, I think is how he described them.
He did call them Latino Twinks. He did.
From the valley.
Yeah. With Nike socks.
Yeah.
And
this is a thing.
Does it sound like a thing?
It is a thing. This is a thing.
What is this thing?
It's just, so there's
aesthetic.
So there's this like thing where there's like,
walk us through it.
Oh gosh.
Walk us through this.
There's a bunch of things going on there. Like, so yes, this is a thing of like a Latinx kind of like Twinkie small person who's like oftentimes bottoming, oftentimes like bottoming for like a lot of black folk. There's a weird, in my opinion, there's like a weird
bottoming for black folks. What does that mean?
So Jerrod is fucking those like that like little Latinx twink. If he is the one, he is inserting his dick into the white.
No, twink. I know what it is.
I was like, I thought you understand bottoming, but okay, let's.
You're like in all the conversations, no.
Right? I was like, well, girl.
No, I'm asking you the like Latino like twink. Like, what is that specific? Like, wanting that specific like.
It's like so
on Jerrod's part.
I mean, it's another way of like, you know, like sexual fetishization, and also like let's to be gaggy, like anti-blackness, and like who is like higher up on the desirability scale. And I think a lot of times we'll meet a lot of black folk who are really interested in having particular kind of romantic and sexual relationships and partnerships with Latinx folk because they're not black, but they're not white. So there's like, we're like, I'm not doing that, but like, this is still a brown person. This is still a person who's a community of color, erasing all the like, you know, nuances of like, you know, racism and other things that are like present in those relationships. Mm-hmm. So it's really common to kind of see that, you know, and, you know,
do you feel like it's regional too, or do you feel like it's across the board?
It's global. It's everywhere.
It's global.
It's global, baby doll. No, it's everywhere. I mean, I think it's particularly pointed in where Jerrod was at the time, which I think was like LA. He was in LA, I think. But yeah. Because, okay. This is one of the things I want to talk to.
Do it. I know we got off again.
The fact that he was, and no, it's totally fine. The fact that he invited these folks to the Emmy, like I was like,
did he want to have a bad time? He wanted to have a bad time.
You don't know, like these are just folks from grind, and I want to know how those grinder situations happened. And this is why I'm a little like, is it real? Is it not real?
Because all these people just showed up and were so comfortable.
Let's go one step further. And because y'all don't know this because you're not gay, but okay, the last white guy that he was talking to, Jack.
Yeah.
The white guy.
The one with the mustache.
Yes. Is a huge Twitter, like one of the biggest, like porn star, like Twitter porn stars.
I have to see, show me.
I will. I tried to find it earlier, but
pulling it up.
He is a huge. So the fact that he was there is like
he had a porn stash, literally.
He's that's his whole thing, and he only does solo content.
What's his nick? Does he have a handle?
I try to remember. He changed it recently, so I have to find it.
I think we talked
I'm gonna
about
find
him,
it.
So he's slanging too, or they're slanging too.
He really is. Yeah, he is. He does a lot of like dom like verbal play where he just like jacks off and like says like yeah, you dirty slut, you want to da 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 da, and he like or he pretends to be like
that is so interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I was like so fascinated because I know that Jack he is on the apps because he talks about this on Grindr.
But what are the odds?
And also like because he's like huge. Like when I mean huge, I mean like
he's one of the ones.
He's like I would say he's probably one of the most prolific solo people. The fact that he had Jack in there, I was like, oh, you know what you're fucking doing.
He knew what he was doing, and then kissing him just like...
Yeah. And also, they also talked about, like, how great the sex was.
Yeah.
And, like, it was so...
This morning.
That whole scene was so fascinating. It was, like, so fast. Like, it was, like, Tyler, sad, mood, and, like, next, this one, I'm getting dressed, and I'm talking about, do you want to come with me to the Emmys? And I just think, that's what I want to say. This is what I mean when I'm talking about the ways in which, like, how race works here in these sexual dynamics. Because literally, this is just like a twink from around the way, and you're bringing them to the Emmys with you.
Nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Why though?
You feel like because it's a good look?
It's a great look because you're feeling sad maybe about the Tyler stuff for a variety of things. But like, I'm like, sis, stand up. Like, not that.
Stand up.
Like, I understand if you want to bring those people, but like, you don't know them.
It's like a toxic flex.
Well, it's getting down bad.
Yeah, down bad for sure. And also like,
which is like why? Because it's like. Are there? I don't know.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm not ending the pod. Like, if there's another thing that you want to touch on, we can. I know we're going close with time, though.
I'm chilling. I've already fed mine, but like, it is like you probably want to not be. In this
so, how did we feel about when the friend and him were having breakfast, and she was sharing like how personally painful it was for her to be between him and his mom and see their relationship fall out? So she had, just for context, she shared kind of like, this has been hard for me to watch your family's reaction to this, and I also have empathy for where your mom's coming from, but also her shit's foul. She was really trying to play the middle, I felt
she was. And
she had made a joke kind of like, why don't you invite your mom to the Emmys? It seemed playful, but also like a suggestion, how I read it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I think so too.
He kind of was laughing through her emotion, and it seemed like it was because he was uncomfortable, but also maybe there was more to it. I don't know. How did you guys read that scene?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting to highlight the long histories of like as like a queer Black man in quotes, like that your deep connection with another Black woman who's like not your mother, who's like your girl, your sisters, in the fold. I loved being able to see that, and I hope we see more of that relationship and that person is named, and we can like have more of like what that looks like. So it warmed my heart to see, but it also was like really sad because I could see that she was really struggling and didn't really know what to do and say, and was definitely like we can't. I understand her wanting to have a relationship with Jerrod's mom. It sounds like maybe she's like a family friend who's been connected for a long time. Again, this is why I thought the documentary was so cool, because we're not getting any context.
Yeah. Right, like we're just like getting drops of people.
Little drops of this. And so that's why I would love to get like the like extended version that's like twice as long. But like, it made me really sad. It also made me feel kind of weird. And I really hope that we can like get more of it before.
Why weird?
Weird in the sense that like, I know what she's trying to do, but I think the language she used didn't feel right. Like, I don't want her to like feel like she's trying to play both ends. So at the end of the day, Jerrod's mom has done things that are like deeply queer antagonistic, and like I don't want to like dance around that. Do you know what I mean? I want to be real clear that that's what she did. But I have a weird relationship to like people causing harm, because I think if you're in a relationship with anyone, they're probably going to harm you in some way, shape, or form. And also, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm fucked up, or maybe because of my job, but like queer antagonism is everywhere. Like. So, like, it's not going to, like, maybe be as jarring for myself. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like that, like, that's how she talked through it. Because it's okay for someone to be like, no, what your mom did was really fucked up. And you can still love her. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you need to, like, you know, never speak to her again. And I felt like that she was, like, trying to, like...
But you also don't have to invite her to the Emmys.
You don't have to invite her to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not gay, but when I have felt harmed by a family member's actions or not accepted, and I've been met with neutrality, it felt bad.
It does. I think that's probably why he laughed. Yeah. Because it's so much easier. Because I know he wants those deep connections. Yeah. He still, even though he's like, he had in the weird place with his family, I do think he wanted, you know, still something. I think that friend is, because like
well, listening to his mom's voicemail, he was like, seemed kind of conflicted and hesitant and nervous to think about. So that's definitely like.
Can I tell y'all something? I like turned away from that scene. It made me too like jarring. I was like, ah!
Have you watched it?
I started it. I moved away though.
The one where his mom.
I saw it happening. And then for some reason it just like made me like, I was like, I can't watch this right now. And I stopped.
What is it like thinking about it right now?
I want to watch it, but like it still makes me uncomfortable.
His mom didn't acknowledge at all the core issue between them, but just I felt like showed up and was like, I'm proud of you, but didn't acknowledge any of the core issues. I have a friend who I watched this with when I watched it the second time, and she has a difficult relationship with her mother, and she felt sick watching it. Because she was like, there's something about this message that feels disingenuous. Like, she's saying what you want her to say, but there's so much missing.
It's like everything felt like it was really hard to say. I think that, she means it. Yeah. She probably is proud of him for getting this award. She probably does, all these things. And it's not what he's needing, kind of. Like, he knows all these things. It's kind of like when he walked off, it's kind of like the sense that I got. Like, he knows that he talks about being deeply loved by her. He talks about, like, his mom,
Yeah.
He's has a lot of compassion and empathy for her. And so I actually wonder if it's, like, more gutting to, like, hear that message.
I think I also know they have a deep relationship because in, what's the most recent? Rothaniel. I think it's in Rothaniel. It might have been in the other one. He talks about, he was the one who told his mom about his father's affair.
Yeah.
Right. He did have that other thing. I forgot about that.
And so, like, in how he was, like, really present with his mom through all that. And it sounds like, which is a very tropey thing.
I forgot about that.
Of, like, the queer son.
I know.
The relationship with the mom. Yeah.
I'm like, it's all, like, coming together.
That's such and I mean, this is me and my mom all the time. Like, we're not close, and she's,
This is what I was alluding to earlier.
Yeah. And she's over here lamenting to me about the death of her mom and how complicated that is and all the things that are happening. I'm just sitting here in my kitchen, and my dad and my brother are, like, fucking watching whatever March Madness game
she's using you. Yeah.
And we're just sitting here together, and, like, there's such a long history of this, and I'm always wondering what's going to happen as we get older, like, because I'm not close with my family, and I'm like, well, who is going to be anyway?
Who's going to be a caretaker?
No, like earlier, I was thinking your relationship sounds just like my mom and my sisters. Like, you have a it's like white mother-daughters have this weird thing. Maybe all do, but yeah, where it's like you're close, but it's that much worse when you fall out.
Well, it's interesting that she can't pick up, and I know what you're talking about. I have our other mutual friend who talks about this relationship with their mother, and, like, how she will, emotionally dump on him and kind of, like, doesn't see, like, the irony of, like, using this child.
And not just using this child, but, like, the things that come along with it. The things that they're, like, we oftentimes are like, don't do that. Do not be soft, thoughtful, feminine, kind, hold space. Don't do that. But actually, I need you to do all those things. This is actually what's super helpful. That's what I want.
And she's not getting it maybe rarely anywhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I just wanted to end on this, and then I think we should stop because we're at 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Is that I felt sad for him because he came across as profoundly lonely. Like, I was like, you went and won an Emmy, and then you got on stage right after, and it didn't feel like a joyful moment. It felt like I can get on stage whenever I want because I'm a big comedian and I didn't want to be alone tonight.
And he says, he's like, you're laughing with me now, but I'm going to be left alone with this Emmy. I'm profoundly lonely. Yeah.
Can I ask when the show's done? Yeah. Can I come back?
Of course.
So we can, like, talk.
Yes, please.
You have to.
We should do, like, a halfway point. Well, it's only 4 episodes.
Yeah, we'll do it when you come back, and, like, I would be curious. I want to hear kind of more about, like, your dating history and like, those kinds of things. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can reach out to him, see if we can get him to, like, phone in, because I have a mutual.
Would you draw?
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm a stand-up.
I would love to talk. I would love to talk with. That would be one of my. I would be aghast to have a conversation with him.
That'd be so fun.
It'd be awesome.
I think we can get that.
All right. I would love that. It'd be amazing.
We'll try. No, I mean, we'll try for sure.
All right.
Maybe so big now. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know.
A year ago.
Like, tell him that we're doing this, like, black thing, and there's another black queer person here who wants to, like.
Believe me, I'll be using that.
He'll sell it. All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you all so much.
All right. See you in a week.
Bye.
When you're here with me, babe, 'cause you're all that I crave, so I wonder where are you? Where